Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, as I spend some time just exploring different sketches of different kinds of birds' eyes in my sketchbook, I thought I'd chat with you a little bit about the different stages that every single artist goes through in their journey of discovering themselves as an artist. Finding one's art style is a topic that's spoken about a lot, and it's a struggle that every single artist goes through. And the way I see it, there are a few necessary stages that you go through on that journey. Before we start talking about those stages though, I wanted to discuss the fact that the artist's journey is a very non-linear one. I know that most professional journeys or entrepreneurial journeys are quite non-linear, but I think the artist's journey is more so because it's not just a journey of professional growth. There's also a lot of self-discovery and spiritual or emotional growth involved in the process of becoming an artist. Your art style and your identity as an artist is tied together so closely with your own personality and your own emotional states. So what I mean when I say that it's a non-linear journey is that these 6 stages that I'm going to talk to you about, of course they go in that sequence, but there's also a lot of back and forth that happens. You may go from stage 1 to 4, and then you may jump back to stage 2 all over again, and then go through stage 3 all over again, and then jump to 5, and then you're back to 3 again. I'm sorry if I'm being a little confusing here, but as I discuss the different stages with you, I think you'll gain more clarity on exactly what I mean. So let's jump into it. Stage 1 is emulation. At this stage, you're practicing art just for fun. You may or may not have the inclination to make this into a profession, but this is a stage where you're just exploring something. You see other artists' work and you start copying them either by seeing or by taking loads of tutorials. You start getting a little comfortable with technique. You might choose a medium that you particularly like working with. For example, for me, it was initially watercolor, and I went down this rabbit hole of watching so many different YouTube videos trying to understand how to create florals with watercolor or how to create landscapes with watercolor. And I tried to get a little comfortable with my technique before I could improve my skills. The moment you start gaining a certain level of confidence, either with a particular style or a particular technique or a particular medium, or it could be a combination of all those things. For example, maybe watercolor florals as a whole, maybe you've got really comfortable and confident with your ability to paint watercolor florals. At this point, you would probably move on to the next stage. Stage 2 is shiny object syndrome. At this point, you're basically looking in every direction. You've gained a certain level of confidence and you know that you have got your basic techniques down. So suddenly you feel like you can accomplish anything that you want to, and you're fascinated by multiple things all at once. Watercolor, but also gouache, but also oil paints, but also color pencils. Still life, but also portraits, but also florals and also landscape. Every time you sit down to paint, you want to try something new. Maybe now that you're comfortable with watercolor florals, you want to try landscapes, and then you want to try a new medium. And then maybe you want to explore urban sketching. You keep trying new things, and every single time it's love at first sight. Usually once you reach a point where you're comfortable with a few different techniques or styles of painting, you might move on to the next stage. And this next stage is not a very happy one. This is the stage of doubt. You love everything that you've been creating, but you don't feel like they're all coming from the same artist. You might lay out all your paintings in front of you, or you might flip through the pages of your sketchbook, and it feels at this point like every page was painted by a completely different artist. They're kind of all over the place, and you find yourself asking, what is my artistic style, or who am I as an artist? This happens because up until this stage, you've been exploring things all over the place, right? And not just that, you've also been following tutorials. And when you're following tutorials, you tend to try to paint it in the tutor's style. rather than bringing your own spin to it, because you're still trying to get comfortable with it. So once you're at this point where you're feeling all of these doubts start to creep in and you're unable to define exactly what your art style is or who you are as an artist, the only way that you're going to move on to the next stage is if you don't stop creating. Despite all the doubt and all the confusion, you keep painting and you keep creating, and then you'll find yourself in stage 4. Stage 4 is obsession, and this is one of my favorite stages in the entire journey. You keep painting, and then suddenly months or even a few years go by, and you look back at your work and you see that there's one particular subject or one particular style of painting that you've been drawn to over the last few paintings. This happened to me with birds. I've been painting birds ever since I started diving deeper into the world of art, which is over 3 years ago now. Right from year 1, I was painting birds. But in year 1, that wasn't the only thing I was painting. I was exploring watercolor florals, gouache florals, landscapes, loose landscapes, birds, insects, and basically a whole bunch of things. I even did a few character illustrations. So like I said, I was at stage 2. I was kind of all over the place and I didn't know what brought my work together. But as I went into year 2 and into year 3, I saw that on the days when I really didn't know what to paint, the first thing that came to my mind was birds, and that was something I was immediately drawn to. I learned to observe that and explore it further. This is the point at which you are obsessed. You're obsessed with either a particular style of painting, and that could be abstracts, it could be the way that you're expressing yourself, it could be the kind of tools that you're working with. Maybe you're using palette knives a lot, you're trying to bring texture into your work. This could take any form. In my case, it was in the form of a subject, which is birds, and a medium, which is gouache. In your case, it could be absolutely anything. Once you dive deeper into your obsession and you play with it further, you will move on to the next stage. Stage 5 is confidence. Suddenly, your colors seem to be moving in a certain direction. You dance with your brush in a certain way that only you can. And when you look at your art or anything else that you have created, you get a sense of, oh my God, that is so me. Angels sing from the heaven and you're smiling and you feel like you've arrived. You feel like you can finally define your art style. If not completely, but you can at least be able to tell somebody what are the colors you're drawn towards, what are the subjects you're drawn towards, what's the medium that you like painting with. You have some amount of clarity at this stage. I think this is a good stage for me to bring back the conversation of this entire process being very non-linear. Like I said, this confidence may happen and then suddenly you may go back to the shiny object syndrome. You might find that now that you've reached a level of confidence, you again feel like playing with various mediums, and that's where I'm at right now. Actually, I released my first ever art collection, which was painted using gouache, and the subject was birds, and I'm so proud of the way I was able to bring that collection to life. But once the collection was done and I was exploring more in my sketchbook, I've suddenly been drawn to pencil sketching a lot lately, and I decided to explore acrylics, which you can watch in my previous few videos. And I'm suddenly very excited by the possibility with that medium for me, and I have an idea for a series that I want to create with acrylic. So I'm back to this shiny object syndrome phase where I'm looking at various mediums and trying to see what that medium can bring to my current art style, and that really excites me. So it's a very non-linear process. You may go back and forth multiple times, and you need to be okay with that. You may even go to the doubt phase, especially after you create different bodies of work, maybe with different mediums even, or different styles of painting, because it's constantly changing. And you might again feel this sense of doubt about who you are, or you may reach a point of stagnation or burnout where you may again get this sense of self-doubt. And that's one reason why I found it important to include stage 6 in this discussion, which is acceptance. Once the initial excitement of, oh my God, I've discovered my art style, dies down, you realize and make peace with the fact that you never truly arrive. Your art style is constantly evolving and it grows with you. Your life and your circumstances and your influences at any given time inform your expression on your blank page. So as your life circumstances keep changing, as you are internally maturing and growing and changing through the different seasons of your life, you're going to find that that changes your art as well. And that is completely okay, because now you know what it feels like to be confident, and you're going to create no matter what. You will go back and forth multiple times through your entire art career, which is going to span many years or many decades. And it is completely okay for you to keep changing. It's okay if 20 years down the line, your art looks nothing like what you created today. It grew with you, and that's a very natural part of the process that you just need to accept, and you kind of need to flow with it, because that's where the magic happens. Also, as you go through all of these stages and as you go through your own journey as an artist, please keep in mind that there is no right answer. There is no one size fits all. You get to decide what your journey is going to look like, and you get to decide what your style is. Don't feel like you need to fit into any kind of box. Don't feel like you need to be working with only one type of subject or only one medium or only one way of expressing yourself for it to be considered your art style. Your art style is your own unique amalgamation of all these things, and as you practice and as you develop your skills, your style is going to come out by itself. You really don't need to do anything to make it happen. It's something that's going to naturally happen if you just take the effort of putting in the reps and practicing regularly. And on that note, I would like to say that a sketchbook has been my biggest and most useful tool in really honing my skills and developing my own style. Just putting in the effort of sketchbooking almost every single day has made such a huge difference to my development as an artist. So it's something I would heavily recommend. Even today, I've really enjoyed sketching these different eyes in the sketchbook. I'm also trying to be playful. I first did a few with pencil, then I did a few with color pencil, and finally I'm finishing it off with doing two that are really large. And I did this just to push myself, and I did it in a more loose sketching style, which is not how I would normally sketch, but my sketchbook is my place to explore, so I can do whatever I feel like doing in it, and that's the beauty of a sketchbook. I'm in fact so happy with how this turned out, and I had so much fun doing it that I'm considering converting it into a 100 bird eye challenge. So maybe I will do a lot more. There are, I think, about 15 on this page, so maybe I'll do a total of 100, and maybe I'll record that and put it up next week. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss that. Like I said, birds are my current obsession. I love painting and sketching birds, and I'm creating an amazing online course that I'm very excited about, where I'm going to be teaching you all about how to sketch and paint birds, right from understanding the different elements of art, understanding how to sketch with confidence, mixing colors of your own, finding references for your art, right until creating a beautiful painting of a bird. That's something I'm going to be guiding you through, and I'm very excited about it. It's coming out soon, and the link to sign up for early access to this class is in the description. I hope you'll check that out. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.